Okay, we're going to do another basic trapping video. I went down and got some representations of some different traps I have. This is nowhere near the all of them, but this is a good representation, and I picked out different designs that is common. Okay, like for example, this dog proof trap. These are ubiquitous with nest raiders. They're called dog proofs because a dog cannot set this trap off. So this is good to use on farms or in an urban environment. I have this set up to go around a tree, a stump, like to be tethered off instead of staked. What I'm going for in this is something that if you can pull a cinder block, this is too small. It also does have my tag and at least 2 to 3 swivels. Now the way these work is if you look, you put your bait down inside there and you see the trigger. This is a pull trigger. They do have push and pull. You set it like you would anything else, and a lot of people don't know how to set these, so if you look at it, it looks like that. And like that. Okay, reach on the other hand, there. Then you pull down and then like that. Then it just latches in place right here with the dog. Now you can set these to the side. You can set them to where they're hair. This is where you finagle it. And then see the coon or possum nest raider would have to reach in here, grab a hold of that dog and pull out, and then it'll set it off. These always kind of okay. That's how it works. You have your coil, and then these just go into the ground, and you come and the animal's hooked. Okay, so this is a dog proof. Excuse me. This is your dog. This is basically where your pan is on another trap. Coil, spring. It's like a big rat trap. Okay. This is a coyote, beaver, bobcat. It's a Duke #3 coil spring. Now I paint my traps, especially if they're going to be buried. If they're buried, the animal can't see them anyway. So, and to me, it just gives longer protection because they get beat up. This one I need to repaint. But we're going to go more in depth on this coil spring trap. You have the frame, which is this part. That makes the cross. You have your coils. You have your pan. And see, I like my pan to just fall on its own weight. You have your dog. And you have your coils, or not coils, levers, and your jaws. Now, the way this works is you set this trap, and these things are a pain, but once you get used to it, okay. Now, if you notice, the pan is setting high. Okay, this is my free jaw. My free jaw is not hooked by anything. I can move this up, down. As long as you are underneath this jaw, you are safe. Okay. Now this is where new traps are not latched, which means I can move this down until I hear it click, and it'll go off, or it'll click and then it'll be even. Is what I mean. This I need to adjust because it did get bent. So I would take my pan tensioner, which we'll go over in a later video, and adjust this pan to where this is now laying flat. Okay. Now, like I said, as long as you are under this jaw, you are safe. I also need to wax these. These are a little stiff. So to set these off, I'm going to just basically go under the jaw. Okay. That's still a little slow for what it should be. I have these cabled off to an earth anchor, to a Wolfang earth anchor, which we'll cover in a later video. But as you can see, this right here is good enough for a beaver, for anything else. It's about 20 bucks. Okay. These are not my preferred traps. There's too many moving parts on these that I feel like can go wrong. And in a shit hit the fan situation to where you can't just run down to your local trap store and buy the parts, they're too, I'm not saying it would happen, but why take the chance? As in, you have your ears or your springs, your levers, your trap frame, your jaws, your coils, your adjustment, bolt nut right here, your dog. These dogs will get bent all to hell. Like these traps get beat up, especially in if a coyote or bobcat or beaver. This trap's gonna get messed up. Okay, so. And again, all my traps have my tag. Now, I'm going to show you my preferred, my two prefers. Okay. My first conferred, Jesus, I can't speak. My first preferred is a long spring. I have single long springs and double long springs. And the main thing with long springs is you have two moving parts, or four. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5. Anyway, point is, you have two springs, and we'll cover these in a second. You have your pan and your dog. Okay. I can, if needed, say shit hit the fan, and I needed, I don't know, a knife. This is tempered steel. I could take this off and with a rock and a fire make a crude knife. I can add another spring to this and make them, double the springiness. This will hold a raccoon. In a shit hit the fan situation, I have them that'll hold a coyote. This would hold a coyote. It's double jawed. More specifically, I would use this to go after coons or something small. And they fold up to that big. This will do up to a big, this weighs more than this. So in a pack, the way these work, let me break these. It's called breaking the trap. I'm not actually breaking the trap. It's just what it's called. I'm pulling the springs down. Okay. I got it set. So now, if you look right here, on this one, the loose jaw is up. The way you fix that is you take your spring, or either one spring or two springs, and you bend them you push them toward the dog side. See how it just laid down? Now I have this set more than it should. Like normally I would actually pull this back a little bit. I'm just basically showing you that that's how you level the pan. The thing I like about these also is, let me get underneath the thing here, is this, when you put these in the ground, every part of this trap is touching the ground. You got to do antifreeze with them, peat moss, pipe dream set. There's a lot more that will freeze to the ground. This, as long as these can freeze and this can freeze, but as long as this can go up, you're set. You're golden. Again, you see I did maintenance on these, so they're freshly painted. And there's my tag for the game wardens. And this is again to an earth anchor. I am working on, by the beginning of next week, hopefully, the dozen or so other ones of these, of the double spring that I have, I am going to put on drags. And I'm going to put these on drags. So that'll be at the beginning of next week or so. But again, as long as these are double jawed, and what double jaws does is they weld a little piece right here on both of them that a nestrator can't get underneath the jaws and work it the way out. So if it's caught, it's going to be there. Again, I just have this one onto an earth anchor, and this will be moving toward a drag at the beginning of next week. But as you can see, there's very little moving parts on this trap, and it takes a pair of pliers to work on it. The only thing that you might want to lose, which I'm going to Loctite, is the dog bolt. You know, other than that, this trap is, I love long spring traps. And again, to set it off, you go underneath the free thing, and then you set it off. And like I said, weather, snow, ice, this will bust through it. Because the only thing that's touching the ground when you bed these traps are the bottom of the spring and the frame. As long as this can, now if it's a foot of snow, you know, have some common damn sense. But, you know, normal amount of snow, normal amount of ice, these traps are where it's at. And again, you just fold them like that, or the other way. Put these in your pack. Now I'm going to show you my soon-to-be favorite. This is, I have them from 110s to 220s. Conibears, or body grip trap. This trap is a killing trap. That's just all there is to it. This was designed to kill, and it will kill. This is a 160. So it's a double spring. Now, on these Conibears, they need some explaining. They have safeties. Okay. And I don't have my setter, so just bear with me. This is your trigger. Now you can bend these any way you want. This is a trigger. This is your dog. Okay. Now, each one of these loops is a sensitivity. Most sensitive, medium sensitive, and least sensitive. Okay, this is an X. When this fires, let's see if I can. No, there's no way without the setters. But this will kill you. Shit. This will do 160 from here to here, and from here to here. So is 160 pounds per square inch of crushing force. A 110 is 110 pounds per square inch. A 330 is 330 pounds per square inch of crushing force. So when this closes on you, you want to get them around the neck or the lungs and neck. But either way, it's going to have a continuous, like on this one, 160 pounds per square inch. This will break your damn arm. If not cut your hand off. I mean, I wouldn't say cut your hand off, but it would, you get caught in one of these, it's breaking off. Now, this tethers off to a chain and onto a thing, and this is just to be legal. That's my tag on it. Now, the reason these are my favorites now, 110s are great for squirrels, muskrats, even if it's caught good possums, you know, They go 110, 120s, 150s. 150s are getting into your muskrat range, into your um, groundhogs. This is good for fishers, coons. The 160s, 220s are good for coons, beaver, groundhog, 330s. If you can catch it, this will kill it. And you can even fish with these things. I can show you a set on how to set up 110s that would, because this would cut a fish in half, but a 110 wouldn't. I can show you how to, I'm going to show you how to set up so you can fish with them. And as sensitive as this trigger is, yeah, it works. I mean, I might be able to. But anyway, these work. These do not freeze at all. Um, at least I've never seen them freeze because it takes a lot of ice to break 160 pounds of pressure per square inch. So this is 5 by 5, 25 times 160, whatever that works out to, is how much force this whole thing can put down on you. So no, I love Conibears. And Conibear is just a name after the guy that made like Leatherman. These are the actual name of this trap because this is uh, this one's a Duke, and this is a 160. And yeah, um, body grip. Sorry, I got sidetracked there for a second. Body grips is what they're known as, but these you put up in trees. I mean, you can do pocket sets, cubby sets, um, incline sets, blind sets, footholds. You can fish with them. These are the most universal. If or when shit hits the fan, trapping is going to be the way it is because it's a numbers game. Okay. Say I have 300 traps out. Okay. They're working 24/7 nonstop and they can literally spring into action. So that's 300 different spots I don't have to be in to get food. That's 300 different spots that is 24/7 working for me. That's 300 different spots that at a moment's notice, literally a moment's notice, and I have food. That's also the reason I set all my traps that are like this to fall under their weight. Because a light trap will catch anything. And if it's the shit hits the fan, anything is food. Now, if I'm trapping for fur, I'm going to set this to about a 5 pound pressure, so I don't get rabbits and I don't get squirrels or ground squirrels. Shit hits the fan. If it's alive, if it's small, it's food. If it's big, it's a lot of food. That's just how it is. But these do not use around like an urban environment because these will kill the shit out of some cats and dogs. I've even caught cats and a dog proof because a cat is smart enough to reach in there and take their claw and pull that forward. And the problem with that is you've got a pissed off cat in a trap. Cats are usually pissed off all the time anyway, but that's beside the point. Now, these have been cleaned and put up until next season. All my traps have. Though, when you get these, they're going to be covered in a coat of machining oil or oil. You got to boil them. Now, you're not going to hurt the temper on them if they're made right. You got to boil them for about 30 minutes to an hour, get that grease off. And then on Conibears, I paint. I paint all my traps, but then you can dye them, boil them, whatever it is your preference is. I like paint because by the time the animal sees this, it's dead or it's dying. This coons and possums and and everything. They don't give a shit. Like, I actually want them to see this. So next year, instead of painting it brown again, I'll probably paint it white. I want them to see this trap. These traps are buried. Animal don't see them until it's too late anyway. If an animal sees this, then it's my fuck up. Now, you don't paint them and then put them right out. Like, these will be painted and aged about a year, let the smell go away, and then put them right back in. Because, like I said, they're buried. And, just don't be a jackass with it. As you can see, they get beat up all the time. But, just to go over parts of the trap, parts of traps, on a dog proof, they all might not look like this, but they'll have this same design. It's like a pickup truck. Ford, Dodge, Chevy, they all have the same basic design. You have your chain, swivels, your tag, however you're going to stake it or drag it or anchor it. This one, you have your cool, your dog, your cool and everything. So that's your dog proofs. Your basic trap, you have your pan, your frame, your ears, that's what I call ears, your coils, and your dog right here. Your dog connects to your pan, and then you just take it down. Now, what traps should you buy? Competitive options. You do not have to buy Dukes. You can buy Victors. You can buy Belisles, MBs, Montana brand. Anything you want. Victors. How much money do you want to spend? Now, this trap is big. It's a Duke 3 coil spring. It's big enough for beavers, coyotes, bobcats, raccoons. You get to a raccoon or below, and you're doing some damage. I ain't going to lie to you. You're going to break their damn arm. This is too big of a trap, in my opinion. Yours might vary. So, would I buy these? I mean, I have. But would I recommend people buy them? I would recommend you buying, say, 2 to 6. That way you have the option. I wouldn't buy a dozen. I mean, unless you're going after big things. So, I mean, this will do a wolf, But the average person, say 2 to 6. I would buy a dozen of your dog proofs. I'd buy a dozen to 2 dozen double long springs or single long. I would do double long springs. And this is Duke number 11, double long spring, double jaw. Now these are $9 a piece. This is $9 a piece. This would be $20 a piece. And I would put my money in Conibears. I would get a dozen of these, a dozen 110s, a dozen 220s. Because these fold up to nothing. You can take these, put them in your pack, put, say, 2 dozen of these in your pack, and I promise you, you won't go hungry if you know what you're doing. You can even do a dozen Conibears or a dozen 110s, squirrels, small possums. Hell, they'll kill, raccoon too. You can fish with them. These are so, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, multi-purpose, that they easily earn their weight in your pack. These, not so much. These, if you're going to be if you're worried about dogs, but if the shit hits the fan, I'm going to be eating the dogs too. So, yeah. I would have maybe some of these, but like I said, for the versatility of the Conibear, you can't beat it. And, you know, if you're trapping for meat, it doesn't matter because you have to check your traps all the time anyway. Fur, that's with you. But that's just a basic video. We're going podcast. We're going to get into how to modify the traps, how to set the traps, as in set the pan tension, set the make it even, how to do all the cool nerdy stuff on it, how to nerd out with the traps. We're going to do that. Then we're going to cover lure and bait. And once all that's done, we're going to get into the sets. So I'm trying to take it in order. I got you before on what you need as far as to actually set the traps with. Now we covered the traps. So you go for basically what you need, what you're going after. And then we're going to go into what you need to attract them. Baits, lures, attractants. How to do the sets. How to bed a trap. The different trap sets, which there are a buttload of. And finally, hopefully some fur processing once trapping season starts. I do have a nuisance license to trap in the summertime, so I can trap coyotes. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm trying to take it in progression and not overload you. So questions, comments, put them down below. Find me on Facebook, which you already have for the most part. Share, get this out there. Like, I'm going to put it on the YouTube too, so share, subscribe, like there. It's going to be on my MeWe. Look up trapping on MeWe. I will talk to y'all after a while. Remember, I love you. Get outside, be kind to one another, and avoid the bullshit. Bye.